Alright, welcome to Evan's Short Version. Today we're doing a stupid little tier list for game genres. We pulled this off just a random site called GameDesigning.org. We just thought it would be fun to just essentially go forth and just kind of rank essentially what we feel like game genres are and just say whether or not we like them in the game. Kind of like go back and forth whether or not we like them as like a game in general or just as like a genre within a game and kind of get the feelings of it and see what we like. And I kind of want to see what Corey has to say because I know what I like and I kind of have an idea what you like. It'd be interesting to see what all you have to say about a lot of things.
Only time will tell.
All right. All right, the first one they got up here is stealth. What do you feel about stealth games?
Meh.
Meh? You're meh?
I am meh on stealth. I am not a big fan of having to be sneaky. I loved the Metal Gear Solid series,
Yeah.
but I did not play it like a stealth game.
Okay. Let's talk about this. So I think this is one that I am with you if it's the full game. But I do like games that do have just like one or two levels with stealth. Just kind of adds to the game. But when it's full stealth, like the Thief series, especially the Thief series, Metal Gear, you can kind of get away with just kind of getting them, like running through and getting it sometimes, but or kind of just blazing through. Like the Thief series to me was like pretty hard, and I was just like it was pretty much just like forced you into stealth. Like it was hard to like, especially the ones I played, and it's like some of those, it was definitely a meh for me. But if it was just a subgenre, it would be no comment for me. Where it's like I enjoyed it. It would kind of be like a yes if it was. I don't know. I would almost say I don't know. We'll put it in meh. Meh. We'll come back to it. All right, fighting.
Uh, yes, I'm awful at them, but I do enjoy a good fighting game. The Tekken, Mortal Kombat series, Street Fighter, all those. Loved them, played the crap out of them. I just suck at them.
So I'm the same way. It's like it's always I have my. It's like we always have that one friend that's really good at them and always wants us to play it, and we play and we learn like two moves from like one person and be like, okay, you destroyed me. I'd say, I guess you want to go again, huh? Okay. I don't know. For me, it's like no comment if it's like a straight fighter game. It's like yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, nostalgia alone, because Mortal Kombat and everything else when you were a kid, that's like the only game you had. So it's like
I did.
you spent a lot of time on it. So for me, it's a yes.
The first game I personally had myself, so I didn't own a console until like I was way older. But my mom bought me a game for my brother's Dreamcast, and the it was Soul Stone. It was Power Stone. I think it was for the Dreamcast. That was my first game, and that was the only game I could play on my brother's Dreamcast because he bought it. It was his thing when he was in high school, and it's like I had to play it only when he wasn't home or working. He
Yeah.
worked at the bowling alley over in, and I would say for nostalgia, just for that fact of like for me it would be just because that was like a fighter game was my first, and I loved that game. Was I good at it? Hell no. What do you think, though? All right. What we got? We got survival games.
I do not play a lot of survival games,
I hate them. I hate them. I can't.
but that's part of the reason why I don't play a lot of survival games.
It's a no for me because it's like I personally I do like to like say The Forest, where it's a solo game, and you're just like I've watched gameplay of some of it and played a little bit. I do like the story behind that, but just the object of being stuck there and then having to redo it when you like I get some people enjoying it, but like at this point in time when these games are big, we don't have like you and me, we don't have a whole lot of time to play games. It's
Yeah.
like doing this channel alone cuts into any time we really get to play, so
I like the idea of them. I just don't like them myself.
yeah. I yeah, it's a no for me. I'm just not into them. Survival horror games, though.
I mean, I feel like it should just be called horror games.
It should be. I don't know why the site would survive. It's just a horror game.
Like I love a good horror game, so for me it's oh yeah. The Silent Hill series, Resident Evil, uh, some of those other ones I can't think of the names of at the moment.
Yeah.
I love playing just horror games in general.
I love the indie horror games that they've. There's so many recently. It's like the Choo Choo Charles and everything like that. I still haven't picked that up because we talked about it and I'm like, I wanted to pick that up, but I ended up watching just some gameplay of it. I'm watching some footage of it. And I'm like, I enjoy just that. All right, don't know about this next one for you. This one's where I'm. All right, so text-based games, late 70s, early 80s. I don't know if you've played many.
No comment for that reason. I have not played very many text-based games.
See, it is a yes for me because I do have a couple Tandies downstairs, and I've picked up quite a few, and I've had programs, and I have a backlog. I have like 8,000 old PC games just saved on this computer alone, and there's something about just those text games, and like when you're just kind of like just having to be forced to actually like figure it, like the puzzle alone is just figuring out how to play the game, and it's so fun just trying to get in there and actually like figure out how to interact with anything, and you're just in there typing out the words of like pick up rope, okay, that worked, use rope, no, okay, and then you're just in there guessing, typing out just words, and you're just going around, stumbling around, and then getting lost with just the text base of like interactive. To me, it's a different type of fun.
Yeah, I said.
It's for me, it's a yes, but it's not an oh yeah just because it is annoying. It's something you would just pick up for the nostalgia for some people. It's like some people really love like the adventure games like Sierra Online from the 80s and 90s, like the King's Quest stuff like that. I bet a lot of people would go back. Like I love those games too, like King's Quest, but this is like a little bit before that time. It's just one of those things where it's like if you haven't played it, you have no idea. All right, interactive movie. Now this is specific. I would call this more arcade.
Yeah.
If I had to, because it's an interactive movie, and what they have is Dragon's Lair, but that's an arcade game. To me, it's like a lot of those are more arcade games because it's like all it is like you watch it and then you have to make a quick move, which is just an arcade system. To me, it just feels very arcade.
Yeah, interactive movie, I imagine, and like there's a dialogue option that pops up and I say, do this or do that. I have no real interaction with this genre.
So you never played the Dragon's Lair arcade version?
I never played it.
Did you play any of the other ones?
Nope.
Alright. Well,
I'm a sheltered boy.
Yeah, all it was like it would play like essentially like the Dragon's Lair kind of like cutscene, and then right at the very end of the cutscene you had like 0.001 second to make the correct input, and you had really no idea what it was. But all it was like you had to choose direction or swing your sword. So it was like real quickly. So a lot of it was just memorization and like your reflexes of hitting the correct button of back and forth, and it was very like sudden because it was like clip and then it would be like bam, gotta do the button press, and then it was just like if you missed it, it was just like, so it was just like cutscene after cutscene with like a very short window of input. That's all it is, but that's why I'm like it's an arcade to me. So let us find this. I have it as a tree. To me, it is meh. It's fun in itself, and like if you said Dragon's Lair arcade version, like which is what pops in my head, it's very much a meh because it's just old, and it was like one of the first of like trying to do that, and it still needed to be executed better. I don't know. There's a lot of games we could probably say are more interactive movies, like The Last of Us.
That's fair, but I don't know. It's just not a genre I am super familiar with, and when I see interactive movie, like I said, I imagine it's just dialogue options, and I pick whatever I want, I want to steer the movie, kind of like read a book.
Yeah.
Flip to page 28. No, didn't like that. What was the other option?
And that would be more of like the novel.
Yeah.
the visual novels, since that's what that is. Because I think that is a thing that they actually have on here is visual novels, probably. But, I mean, visual novels are still kind of a thing where it's like they do a little cutscene and they have dialogue and then you pick your own dialogue, and I would consider that visual novels. This one's like, it's like the opposite of like, it's like you watch the cutscene and then have like a quick, you control the character, versus on that one is like you just control the, it's a visual novel instead of an action. This one's like your visual action versus picking dialogue. It's like very nitpicky. I don't know. We could go all day and freaking subcategorize all these freaking genres into a million different things. But this next two are going to be up your alley.
Yeah.
Okay, role-playing games, we don't even have to even talk about this. RPGs are an oh yeah for us.
Oh, hands down. Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Kool-Aid Man. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I need to get you to play Divinity 2 with me.
Yeah.
Because
I'm a
that's
slacker.
That's a fun... I do need to get you to do that one, because that is a fun... Because we were talking about that with a friend of ours, but it is a great strategy game. I played through Divinity a couple times, but it's a fun one to play with someone, because if you don't quite... if you don't get the strategy... Because I played with one of my friends, and it took us a while to get like the co-op to work, because we would have two characters and two characters, but you would have to like work together to cast spells sometimes or do combos and like the different spells that you could do. Moving on to the next one, MMORPGs.
Yeah, that's an oh yeah for me as well. I play a crap ton of MMOs. I mean, I've spent the last 18 years of my life, or however long WoW's out, playing that game on and off.
You're still playing WoW.
And I still play.
You still play WoW.
Even
You're
the
still
crap
grinding
expansions.
away. Yeah, well, I don't know. I played some.
Yeah.
I got about 2 months in.
Yeah, I jumped into Guild Wars 2. I enjoyed it. I never got to level cap or anything, but I enjoyed the gameplay. You know, Final Fantasy 14. I'm in the in-between for Endwalker, so we're getting there. Love the story so far. Just all the MMOs, I pick up and play I've loved.
I don't know. For me, I've played... I think the thing is, it's like, I played more of the shitty ones than you have. You've picked out a lot of the top ones.
Yeah.
I've played a majority of all of them.
I've tried some shit ones.
There's always a shit one. But it's always fun to play the shit ones, because I enjoy playing the shit ones, because you're just like, this is instantly just, you're laughing the whole time. Just
yeah. I've played some Dragon Ball Z ones that are like fan-made, that are awful, but I was like, you know what, I still kind of liked it. I've played some really interesting Pokemon ones.
Yeah.
That, you know, obviously fan-made, and they're just interesting.
Okay, I know this one, you'll probably like the tactic RPG games. I like them. It's, Final Fantasy Tactics or any of the other tactics. It's just like a slightly different version of RPGs. It's
Final Fantasy Tactics was my cherry popper on that one.
Yeah. I think that's where a lot of people got into tactics games, because that was like the first like really like huge tactics game that came out that wasn't just like something that was like Command and Conquer, or just like straight up like an RTS or anything like that. It was like the first like available that was like more console based. You actually had that wasn't garbage.
Yeah. So funny enough, I picked up that and the first Tenacious D album together.
Really?
And so like that's all I did was listen to that album while playing that game.
Yeah.
So like I associate those two together now. So it's a really interesting combination.
Yeah, Lil Jack Black with your Final Fantasy, please. Yes, please. Sandbox RPGs. I mean, like, it's an instant, like, yeah, because it's like, it's enjoyable, and then at the same, it's like, if you have time to sink into it, it's fun. Like, for me, it's like, I love The Witcher 3, but there was, Kingdom Come Deliverance was something I wanted to enjoy, but I never had, when I picked it up, I didn't have time to play it, because that had, like, a big learning curve, because it was very more. It wanted to go on more the realistic side of like constantly keeping up on like a little bit more on the survival game aspect, but not that full blown. But it was just like you need to keep eating, you need to keep up on a lot of these things. It wanted you to be a little bit more, and it's like I constantly always picked that one up and was like always kind of like well, and then ended up cycling and then not ever really completing or going really far in that game.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem with sandbox RPGs for me is I never complete them.
Yeah.
I'll sink so many hours into it and be like, okay, I just don't have time to complete this game. Or I get sidetracked by other games that come out, and it's just like, I want to go back to it, but then you get back to it, you're like, I don't remember what was going on.
This might be a hot take. I'm going to put it in the yes, because it goes both ways, because it's like, RPGs, you can go through and you can follow the linear, it's like a railroaded storyline. You're following it, you're enjoying it. The sandbox is fun because you make it your own fun. You're following, like, it's like Skyrim's a little bit more a pleaser because you don't have a lot of systems in it. You can pick and choose. You don't really have to do the main storyline. You can just pick whatever you want and just kind of complete what you want. And then just do the storyline if you want and just kind of, it's kind of just like in the air as to just anything you want, while some of them are kind of like you kind of have to grind away at it and really work on it, because like The Witcher 3, when The Witcher 3 came out, that was one time I did have a lot of time and I ended up sinking 500 hours into it right off the bat, and that was all before the DLC came out. But by the time the DLC came out, I was burnt out of the game.
Yeah.
Because it was like I spent so much time in it. And that's where I'm like, there's a lot to do, but at the same time, it's like, it feels like a chore. It's like an MMO where it's like, oh, I have to do the constant grind. It's one of those where it's a hit and miss for me of like, if I want that sandbox.
Yeah, like I enjoyed Dying Light.
Yeah.
Like I really thoroughly enjoyed that game, and then I'll pick up another one. It's like, okay, I don't enjoy this near as much.
See, Dying Light, when the first Dying Light came out, didn't have the time I wanted to sink into like trying to play it, because it's like I played it for like I think 20 hours. I mean, you don't really get anywhere in that game like that to really enjoy the game. So it's like very much like, okay, 20 hours in, but it's still like, okay, you don't get you get the level ups, you get the starting material and everything like that. You don't get the fun of it. While a typical RPG, I can get the story and a lot. You get some story and everything like that, but you really miss out on a sandbox RPG. To me, is that you really miss out if you don't play all the way to the end of the story.
Yeah.
And that, sure, a lot of the RPGs that do come out, they can be long and lengthy and longer than a sandbox RPG, but for me, in a sandbox RPG, I just get distracted by everything else that they have, and that's why I'm like, I need a railroaded. I need this to be Dragon Quest. I need you to have a storyline that keeps me going for the whole, 60, 80 hours I'm playing that game.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
Alright. Well, let's move on to strategy games. See, this is where it's weird, because the strategy game could be... I enjoy smaller strategy games. Small. Anything big like Civilization is too much.
Yeah.
Because it takes too much time. Once again, I think that's where a lot of my thing is. Like, if I have enough time, sure. But like Civilization, if I want a strategy game, I want to go in, have a nice, fun, enjoyable, like a chess or something like that. Or just something real quick, whether or not we're playing Go. Like more board game size.
Yeah.
Kind of like simple board game size strategy games. Instead of like a full blown, like to the point where it's almost like a 4X game, where it's just blown up as a strategy game, or like an RTS game would be like a meh for me. I don't know. And a strategy game would be like, it would be yes, but there's so many within that category that it goes meh.
Yeah.
It's not really a no or an oh yeah. It's like a yes to meh, to where I'm like, to me it's like, I think it's like our first.
Yeah, it falls in to where it's between too many subgenres. It's like I like certain ones and then hate certain other ones, mainly because of time, and because I love something that's going to make me think.
Yeah.
It's gonna push the limits of the old brain. That's getting older and falling apart. But
See, I would much rather play a puzzle game.
see, that's where I fall too.
It's like I'd much rather play a puzzle game instead of a strategy game. Because it's just like I can do a couple puzzles and then put it away and then come back and do a couple more puzzles because it's like I thoroughly enjoyed like The Witness. That was like I played The Witness a lot. Like I got all the achievements in it. For whoever played the anyone that knows that secret location in The Witness and had to go through that for that last achievement, you'll know what the pain was going through that. But yeah, I'd much rather play a puzzle game when it comes to anything like that to get that versus a strategy game. I enjoy strategy games if it was like me and my wife playing. Because like we'll sit down and play something like some type of like board game style kind of strategy game on the game, like just something like that together where we're kind of pitted off. But once again, it has to be short because we don't have a whole lot of time to spend together.
Exactly.
All right, so now we got the big old 4Xs: the explore, expand, exploit, and exterminate. Now this one is civilization.
Yeah.
It's just anything like that, and it's just like it's once again I've played a few of these like when I was younger and enjoyed them, but it was always like I get very bored because it's like okay, I start on one map, I conquer, do everything I want, and then it's like oh you have to restart. And I'm just like, well, or it's like you start building, and there are a couple others where it's like, okay, you start over the game, but the whole game is one big thing where you're trying to do a lot. But I think that's where, if you enjoy the 4X, you enjoy replaying it. I enjoy playing it through once.
Yeah.
Especially the bigger 4X games where it's like, it's a long, lengthy campaign where you're trying to be more... try to bribe, try to like actually there's an actual game to complete, not just challenges. Like Civilization to me is like more challenges. There's some out there that's more like just where you're kind of growing your little community and then you're more bargaining, like trying to it's fully more immersive of doing bartering and then more diplomacy and you're working through it, and it's just I don't know. I'm almost in the no.
Yeah.
I would never, at this point in time, I would never pick it up just because it's like, it's so tedious. I just can't see ever really picking it up because I'd much rather just pick a it's like the basic strategy games versus a 4X with it being so complicated.
Yeah, I never really got into the genre of playing those types of games for that reason.
Yeah, I think like the people, it's like if you enjoy that genre, that is like the genre you always kind of want to go into, where it's like okay, you really enjoy this specifically. Like, obviously we go into the RPG category, and like anyone that enjoys the strategy games would be more into the 4X versus us being on the RPG side.
Exactly. If that's your jam, awesome. Just not for me.
Because I've known plenty of people who are like, they'll play the competitive StarCraft and then go into an RTS that's basically all the like the newer Warhammer 3 Total War, like just go full blast into that game, and they're just having a blast playing it for 10 hours at a time, and it's just like they're just fully invested in it and they just love it. And then they'll play anything like that and they'll just keep doing that, but they always revert back to anything like that. But I'm just like I enjoy a good RTS game if it's small.
Yeah.
Like it's like okay, I don't want the match to go longer than 30 minutes because at that point I'm just like I'm probably just going to start getting a headache, lose focus, and I'm like, alright, I need to go do something else, but I can't really quite pause it if I'm in the multiplayer, and it's like, that's a long multiplayer session.
Yeah.
But, alright, now that we'll do that, the next one they have on here is grand strategy games. Which is like the Total War they describe it like the Total War franchise, which is like Warhammer has the the classic Warhammer. They've got Warhammer 1, 2, and 3. 3 came out last year, this time last year. And to me, I'm just like, no. It takes too much time to really get invested into it. It's like there's a learning curve, but depending on who you are, that learning curve can be like really simple, because it's like, if you're used to it, like games like that, if you're used to the Total War, you can probably pick up any of the Total Wars and be like right off the bat enjoying it.
Yeah, I don't play those types of games that often, and like all these categories are just like going together. It's just like I consider that like the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just like
Yeah, because now we're just talking about the same games pretty much, and we're getting into like the subcategory of just a strategy game.
Yeah. I feel like because the next one's real time strategy.
Yeah.
An RTS game. Now I enjoy a good RTS game, but it's got to have a good story.
Yeah.
A single player experience that I can do on my own time.
And I feel like RTSs are the ones that actually kind of do that, because they do. It's like the grand strategy and the 4X do have that.
Yeah.
But the grand strategy and everything like that typically have such a longer campaign, and sometimes it's multiple campaigns that you kind of have to all play through all of them to really get the big picture. Sometimes, while an RTS game is kind of focused on like, okay, you have this one, you kind of follow this one character, this one person through this campaign that they have, and then you can play the multiplayer where you can play whatever faction. But RTS games kind of feel like you can sometimes just go off to the side and just, it can be a lot small. To me, the RTS, like, you do have the StarCrafts where it's like it's somewhat faster. It's a faster paced, where it is just a quick match. It can be long, but you can do quicker matches, and kind of, to me, where it's like I would probably, if I had to pick a strategy game, it would be probably most likely an RTS.
Yeah.
Over a grand strategy game, which is just massive. Like, to me, a Tom Clancy game is like more of a grand strategy game. Not quite those games. I've played them before. I have enjoyed them, but it's like at the same time, I've like, after 1 or 2 levels, it's like I'm kind of done with the campaign. I'm done with this story that they're trying to do. It's just not for me.
Yeah. The RTS story has to just sink in right away, otherwise I'm not going to make it very far.
Yeah.
Like, I enjoy that gameplay from time to time, don't get me wrong. Like, managing the resources, all that other stuff. But once you kind of play, like, 2 maps, it's like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those where it just really depends. That's why it's like RTS is like map, because it could be no comment, could kind of be a yes, depending. Most of them are no, so it kind of just falls in that territory. It's kind of getting skewed a little bit.
Yeah.
It's interesting. All right, what we got? We got MOBAs next.
All right.
I am not a MOBA fan.
I enjoy MOBAs. Don't get me wrong, I probably have like 500-600 hours into Smite.
Yeah.
I've played a crap ton of it. I love playing the game. Hate the community.
I think that's one of the, I think MOBAs are one of the worst, most toxic communities.
Yeah.
Just like
I love playing Smite. I love, having to build my character time after time and like really perfecting the way I like to play it.
Yeah.
But then you go play a different mode where you have to, kind of build it a little differently, and like you just get tore apart the entire game, and people are like, "Oh, you're crap," blah 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 blah. It's just like, dude, I'm venturing out, playing something different. Give me a break.
Yeah, I feel like MOBAs are like that point of like, all right, that 12-year-old kid that was playing the FPS games is now 16 and got into League of Legends. And now, instead of like having a bigger team, like in a first-person shooter, now it's like, okay, the team's much smaller.
Yeah.
It's much smaller, it's much more competitive, and you're doing team stuff. And if you're just like a pug, and you're just that random dude odd out, which is like, if I picked up a MOBA, it's not because I'm playing with someone, it's just because like, oh, it's a new MOBA, or I want to just check it out, or just look at it. Because I've played like 2 matches of League of Legends in my life.
I've never played League.
I've played 2 matches, and I've played Dota like one evening, Like, I don't know exactly what I did. It's been a long time.
Yeah. I did a lot of Smite, did a lot of Heroes of the Storm, got into some Arena of Valor, and that's about where it stopped.
I don't know. Where were you? To me, I'm just like...
For me, it falls under the meh. It's just like, I could live without them, but I do...
See, I think this is where I would also put it in meh, because current state with how the community people are, and then where if I had friends that would be like, hey, we're going to play this for like an hour, I'm like, okay, cool, I can do an hour and play it with you guys. Do I know what to do? No, I'm just going to play with you guys. I would be like, I'll do it for you guys.
Yeah. No. Like, I've had Smite sessions to where I start at like, 10 p.m. and finish at 3 a.m. And it's just like, where'd the night go?
No.
And I had a blast the entire time. Then I get on the next night and everybody's just toxic as hell. I'm like, I hate this game.
Yeah. Yeah. That's just... I almost just want to put it a no just because of the fucking community that it just has. It is just the most, like, anything right now. It is, at this point in time, I think it is the most toxic just because of... I think the big thing is because there is money in it.
It's true.
Because it's like, you got people who want to be good, and if they start doing good, where they're not the best, but they're pretty good, and they can make money off of like a tournament, then those people who are trying to get into that position of like trying to get a sponsor and try to get into that, then they have something to be like, yes, like, you can shit talk, because it's not just like, cool, you made diamond, that's it. But, sure, I think it's like the rankings on top of the fact that there is money and actually people do it as a sport really emphasizes that. I think it just brings more people into it, and it's just like, it kind of just festers of like that whole thing. And then I feel like the people who are stuck in it might get salty over time, because it's like they might get tired of the game, but the fact that they're stuck in it, it's like a streamer getting stuck on a game, and then can never go. It's like, okay, I've only streamed Warcraft. That's all I've ever streamed. I can't play any other game. If I do, the people who watch me might not watch me anymore. Even if I went to Guild Wars, they only watched me because I made specific guides and specific like high-end things for World of Warcraft. Like, I did specifically raiding things, doing that. I feel like that's what a lot of League of Legends players are, where it's like not being top dogs, that could move around, say, like Asmongold in World of Warcraft. He moves around because he does a lot, and the community is willing to follow him, because it's more of like, they know him, they've experienced him, while like a lesser streamer or it's lesser person that is in League of Legends, they feel like they're stuck.
Yeah.
I feel like that's where it's just like, you get that toxicity, and then it's kind of like the MMORPG, but I think in an MMORPG, there's not a lot of money in it. The only money that you can see is just like world first, and yeah, that can get toxic, but you can stay clear of that quite easily.
Yeah, you just don't read the chat.
You just don't deal with it. You stay, because you have different communities, while like specifically MOBAs, it's all one thing. You can't really, it's just matches.
Yeah.
It's not like an MMORPG where it's like, oh, I'm going to go crafting, or I'm going to do this. It's not all about raiding world first. I've never done that. I've barely raided in really anything outside of, like, say, Destiny, or really a couple other games. It's just, yeah.
Alright. Enough about MOBAs.
Now, we will talk shit about them, because they talk shit about everything. Because they need to. We're turning into MOBA players because we talk about MOBAs. We're talking shit about them. Alright, tower defense.
I mean, I enjoy a good tower defense game, but
I never think about them.
It's not something that's like long-term play. It's like, play it for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
For me, a tower defense game feels more like a good mobile, just you know,
It is like
killing time, kind of brainless a little bit. I like the aspect of certain towers with certain abilities, putting next to each other, they power up, all that fun stuff. But at the end of the day, it's take it or leave it.
yeah. To me, it's like the number one. I never think about them. I've done this thing where it's like I have like the PlayStation Pass that they have where you can do, you have access to quite a few games in their library, just like how Xbox does, but the PlayStation. I have that one. And I have gone through just looking at games, and I have picked up like a tower defense game or two and played like an evening, like just an hour or two. Had fun with it, and then immediately just forgot about it.
Yep.
It's just like if I think about it, I would enjoy playing it, having fun with it. Do I finish them? No. I don't know really who finishes.
Do you ever really finish a tower defense
It's
game?
like some of them actually do have like a storyline and have like, but I never follow the storyline in a tower defense game. It's a tower defense game. I'm like, just give me big numbers and weapons that go pew pew.
Yep.
All right. Simulation games.
That's one of those. It's gonna be another one of those where it's
I
genre
am,
based and it's subgenre and.
I'm gonna say yes, because we have seen quite a few, like a good. We've seen a big increase in sim games. Now it depends. I mean, just like anything else, if it's a sim game that takes way too long, like the farming simulator, like that's a whole nother ballpark. But if it's like Power Washer Sim, I love Power Washer Sim. Like it's pleasing, it's everything like that. Where it's just like, I have my own power washer. I have a little one. I do power wash my house, and I do power wash some stuff. But it's pleasing to go into a game, complete it, because it gives you that little dopamine hit of like, oh, you clean it and it makes it nice and shiny and pretty. And there's some of them there that are just hilarious, like the cooking sims, where you can just sit there and they make it. You do the cooking sim, you do that, but they add in some stuff if you mess up or make things like blow up, or if you're doing a lot more. Like, I'm trying to think of a couple of them. There's quite a few of them that make it fun.
Yeah, I mean, Potion Craft.
Potion Craft Sim, that's a fun one.
Yeah, I mean, I love the hell
It's
out
a
of that
basic one.
They have a spot. It's just not for everybody.
Yeah.
And they're few and far between for me.
Yeah, and I think that's where it is, because the sim games are like, you do have that. They're increasing now to where it's like they're covering a lot of jobs. Like you have like the barista sims, you have like the cooking sims, you have a lot of just the basic labor jobs out there. There's a forklift simulator that came out this year.
Not surprised.
And it's like
the thing right now is simulation games.
Yeah, I've seen a big increase because people enjoy them, they're fun. But they're not specifically like, I can see myself playing a couple of them while like, I won't pick up like the farming simulator. I played it just because I've had it because it was like a free game or something, and I tried it out and I was like easily like, nope, I'm done. This is good. I'm good. Alright, now we're going to move into another subgenre, vehicle simulators, and to me, this is once again, it's like a strategy game. If you're into strategy games, you love them. If you're into vehicle simulators, you're going to have a whole, like, sim, like little, what do you call, the whole, like when they build the whole, like, simulator, they have, like, the pedals.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember what they actually call.
Yeah, you got the whole rig, you got the steering wheel, you got the whole job.
Yeah, the building the whole jig. Whether it's a flight simulator or racing simulator where they're buying controls. Like my dad enjoyed the flight simulator. That's like the only game I've ever seen him ever touch. I did get that whenever I was in high school. I bought him just like bare minimum like basic controls. He played it a few times. He enjoyed it, had fun with it, and that's the only game I've ever seen him ever touch when it came to a video game, was him just doing that, taking off. I showed him how to do it, just hooked up everything It was just like the pedals, the steering wheel, and like a couple thrust. Super simple, but I don't know.
For me, it's a meh or a no, because I'm not a big vehicle simulator guy.
I'm gonna put it in no just because of us. We would probably never touch it, even if someone gave it to us.
I mean, I may try it out. That'd be about as far as it gets.
Yeah, I would probably like load it up, look at it. I probably wouldn't even finish a track if it was a racing sim. I don't know. It's something where it's just like, to me, I'm gonna put it in no because it's like it's not something we're gonna pick up, even if we get it for free from someone. We're gonna either try it and probably never complete the tutorial basics area of it.
Yeah.
All right, city building. Have you played Skylines?
I have not played Skylines. I've played a lot of SimCity though.
Yeah.
Uh,
See, I'm the opposite. I've played Skylines. I haven't actually touched SimCity.
yeah, I played a lot of SimCity when I was younger. I loved it, but for me, it's not something I seek out.
Yeah. It's a meh for me because it's like I would play it, would enjoy it, but it just takes too much time.
Yeah.
I have fun, and the general just building and camaraderie I can do in it and just be all absurd. There's smaller ones out there. I have played smaller ones that are like the size of like a village.
Yeah.
And those are much more funner, but at the same time it gets repetitive where it's like, okay, you're basically just completing challenges, and then they want you to restart and then do the challenges for this next level, and it's just like, nah, I'm just gonna dick around and fuck around. And that's why it's a game worth, like, they have fun physics in it, just building something and putting things around. It's just, to me, it's like the same feeling I get from a tower defense game of like, oh, I get to build this here and here and here, and then I can go pew pew, and the same thing, same feeling. And I think one I do enjoy watching City Builder, like people do, because like Let's Game It Out. I watched some of his videos. Him just spending absurd amount of time just spending like 20 plus hours doing one thing for like a 30-second clip.
Yeah, I mean, the things people can do in them are nuts.
Yeah.
Just, I don't have that kind of patience or
Yeah,
time.
no, I wish that I had that time because then I would actually spend time with my wife.
I feel that.
Life sim.
Yeah, no. I never liked The Sims, and that's exactly what I think of when you say life sim. For me personally, it's a no. No.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say.
No. It's a sim game, and I've known one person. I've worked with her, and she plays The Sims religiously.
Now, my wife enjoys The Sims, but it goes in spurts.
Yeah.
She'll be like, I want to play Sims, and she'll play it for a while, and then never touch it again for like a year,
Yeah.
and then like, oh, I want to play some Sims.
Yeah. So I feel like that's just where it's something easy for someone that likes that, because it's the same thing with New Horizon. What's that game called? Harvest Moon? No. There's Harvest Moon, but see, this is how much I like that game.
Is it Stardew Valley or something?
No, it's the other really popular one that people would give us shit because we don't know the game.
That's how out of touch I am with the genre.
Jordy played it. Hey, man, what did... It's that really popular one with the island.
Animal Crossing?
Yes!
Yeah.
Animal Crossing.
Yeah, my wife played a lot of Animal Crossing.
You can tell how much I love that game because, obviously I remember the name. Animal Crossing. I remember New Horizon. That was it. I'm like, I'm blank. I don't know. I hate that game.
Now, Harvest Moon 64, I loved it. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie.
I
But I was also younger and had all the time in the world.
And that's what it is. It's a time sink for a lot of people of like just doing basic things, and like I'd much rather put my time sink into like an RPG where I don't know versus like that, because it's like my wife, she loves Animal Crossing. I almost forget the name again. She put so many hours into that game, and while she'll enjoy other games, but it's just like it won't be something she picks up on her own or actually like goes. It's not something she would be. She's your typical like. She'll play games, but she won't be insensitive of like, oh yeah, let me sit down and play God of War. I'm like, no, she'll sit down and play Animal Crossing. I can sit there and like tell her, hey, play this game. You'll enjoy this one, and she'll sit down, play it, and enjoy it. But it's like a specific game of something similar that is in her interest, her field of interest. But
Alright.
moving on.
Party games. For me, it's a yes. I love a good party game.
I think that's the aspect of it, just being social. For
Yeah,
me.
it's a get together. You're having fun. WarioWare, Mario Party.
Get Jack in the Box.
Yeah.
All those. I bought a bunch of those over Christmas just because Jordy wanted to play some of them. So it's just like, yep, okay.
And they can be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They are fun.
Honestly,
I like them.
It kind of depends on the group of people you have.
Yeah.
Because if you're not, kind of like...
Because we played Jack in the Box. It was me and my wife and my mother-in-law. So that was just like a little bit awkward. Because we're doing some raunchy stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
In some of these games. And my mother-in-law is looking over at us like, excuse me. I was like, well, yeah, I wrote that message. Yep,
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not gonna, I can say it out loud, but you won't like what I'm gonna do to your daughter. Okay.
Yeah, there's a time and a place, but
Yeah.
I enjoy a good
It's
party
definitely
game.
like where it's like you've been friends for a while and you want to sit down and play something. And
Yeah.
You all get along, you vibe. You'll have similar humor.
Yes.
Is where it comes down to. Where it's like I played with friends, like my wife's friends, where it's like I kind of get along with their vibe, but like I am a little bit more on. My humor's a little bit past their threshold sometimes.
It's a little bit more
Just
on
a
the
little
darker
bit.
side.
A little bit more sexual, a little bit more on the darker side. And they're fine with it, but I'm just like, yeah, I just go above and beyond what they would do.
Well, yeah, especially if you're playing like the Game of Things or something like that. It's like, well, I know that's this guy because nobody else at the table thinks like that.
Okay. Yeah, that's how it is. It's a yes.
Yeah.
This next one is also a yes for me. It's trivia games where it's the same thing, but this is more family based.
Yeah.
This like the party games is more like I'll play with friends I've known. Like I would play a party game with you.
Yeah.
The trivia games. Me and my wife have actually sat down. We would play Family Feud. We got this because we have like the Monopoly, like Family Feud kind of like combo game.
It depends on the trivia game. Like I hate Trivial Pursuit with a passion.
See, I'm the same way. But I'll sit down and play it because I get to play a game.
I'll play it, but most times I've never completed a game of Trivial Pursuit.
Yeah.
Ever. Because like everybody starts playing it and you realize how stupid you are, and you're like, nah, this isn't even fun.
I think that's where it comes into it because I memorize the stupidest things that work out really well in trivia.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. That's just my AD&D just... ADHD just
AD&D.
AD&D! We are playing Advanced Dungeons and Dragons here. All my AD&D knowledge comes into useful in Quiz Up.
Yeah. Like, they're a yes, but it's...
Yeah, it's a yes, but there is the thing where, to me, it's less about the game and just the fact that, yes, we can hang out and I can make fun of someone. Someone can make fun of me, that's fine. I'm happy. I'm like, cool, that's a very simple answer. I get it.
Yeah.
But we'll have a laugh about it. Okay. This next one is I know already know puzzle games.
Yeah.
It's like a god tier
Yeah.
To me, a puzzle game would be kind of like be up here. If I took, it'd be like I don't know. To me, I would always enjoy puzzles. It's not something I would pick up and play obsessively, but it's always a game that I would always be happy to pick up and play.
Yeah. Like, I always enjoyed Tetris, and then I came across Luminous, and that ate up so much of my time when that first came out.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this game is awesome. And I spent so many hours in it. Even though it's super simple, super basic, I don't know, it just sucked me in.
See, my first experience with a lot of puzzle games were the point and click adventures.
Yeah.
And it's just like playing those. It's like my brother. My brother was the one that had a lot of them, so I played Myst a lot.
Yeah.
That's what I got into. Was just generally just the whole. I love the adventure, and that's one reason why I like RPG games a lot. It's just because like I just imprinted with me of like loving just those adventure games of like learning the story, and it's just like Myst has a crazy story. That's like I loved it like when I beat it younger, and it's like any of those point and click like the King's Quest and anything like that. It's like I love those, and then I love a lot of the modern stuff that's been coming out has been really fun because I played The Witness, and I've played through that. Like I beat all of the main stuff. I did most of all the secret puzzles through it. Got all the achievements for that game and absolutely loved it. And it's just like the atmosphere. A lot of times it's like a lot of the puzzle games that are coming out now give more of like, okay, it's not just the puzzle, it's like a lot more of the atmosphere. And it's like the music that they have is relaxing. It's fun to go around. Like The Witness, just like most of these, it's just a random island. You're trying to find the secrets of the island, you're doing the puzzles, you find different areas. It's like, basically, it's like walking through a biodome.
Yeah.
Like, you have different areas, different sections, different types of puzzles. That biodome has just a life in itself. If you get tired of one puzzle, maybe you can go do something else. Go figure out something else. And it's just like, recently I've been wanting to play more of the point and click, like find more modern point and click, like adventure story games that don't take too long, I just like that, going through a lot of the stories and just having that just nice relaxing environment with just what they have nowadays, where it's like it is like a lovely environment to be and just relax in. Yeah. Especially now, like do it.
Yeah. Because when my mind jumps to puzzle games, it's always like Tetris and those types of games, but I never got super into them, but I do enjoy playing the point and click puzzle games. Yeah.
I'll have to get you. We'll have to try out some. This is learning that the most I've learned from this now is that I have much more of a broader game, while you've spent a lot of time in specific games. I have a broader, like, okay, I've played this game for 5 hours, this game for 10 hours, this one for this one, this one, this one, and then you're like, I spent 500 in this one, I've spent like 400 in this one.
Yeah.
I've done that with a few games, but not a lot. It's like The Witcher, a couple of the Dragon Quest games, like Dragon Quest 9, is like where I spent a lot of time, but never really sunk into, like, every time I picked up an MMO, I've always put in so much time. It's like, yes, I did put in quite a bit of time into Final Fantasy XIV, and I put in quite a bit of time playing with you for WoW, because we played Classic together.
Yeah. I feel like Final Fantasy XIV is kind of like a little biased, though, just because you could play it as a single-player RPG, essentially, and the story's fantastic.
Yeah.
So it's easy to put in a lot of hours.
Especially when you can get the characters to run the dungeon with you.
Yeah.
Later on, because it's like I got to that point where it's like, level 70s, and you can just run the dungeons with the characters that you are in the story, and you don't even have to queue up for it.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay. And that's kind of was like the best way to do it, was because that's like, if you didn't know the dungeon, you just watched the bots of the characters, and they actually knew the formation, and you just kind of was like, okay, alright, I get how to do the boss. And it was kind of like, instead of kind of what they were going for, where it's like you're need to work together and figure out the mechanics of it with friends. At that point, I was just like, I'll just queue. Instead of waiting for the queue to pop, I'll try to get this dungeon done real quick. Try to get it real fast with these bots.
It's usually never fast, though.
It's never faster, but then it was just like, but I'll know what to do instead of like, okay, if I'm with a bunch of new people who don't know what the dungeons is doing, maybe. And then I was playing on the PlayStation, so I couldn't quite.
It's true.
Message real fast.
Yeah.
I had a little keyboard, just like the shitty little keyboard. It's like I could message just fine, but it was just like wasn't the most. It's like wasn't like me sitting at the PC and playing WoW and just message it like, oh, new to this. I just had a macro.
Yeah.
I'd be like, hi, I'm on PlayStation. I'm new. This is my first time, something like that.
Yeah.
Half of it was me going, my first time playing. And then they'd be like, cool. Simple. It was, yeah. Alright, well, let's keep it moving because this is taking a long time. More games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hands down, yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. Especially nowadays because they're porting over a lot of more popular board games like Gloomhaven. I want to play more with Gloomhaven, but I need to find people to play Gloomhaven with me on PC. Frosthaven.
Clue.
Eh?
Come interact with us, people.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. Alright, moving on. Sports games. No.
I'm a hockey guy.
I know.
So it's
I'm just putting out my answer.
It's okay. I'm a sucker for a good sports game. Like, I love the Wii Sports. I loved NBA Jam. I loved NFL Blitz. I played the hell out of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. I played a lot of sports genres, but I pretty much buy the NHL series every year.
Okay, so let's split it up because they have this next to it. They have sports games and team sports. Let's say hockey, all the football games and everything like that are team sports, and then if you do the Wii Sports and everything like that, that's a sports game.
Played a lot of Virtua Tennis too. Or Virtua Tennis as well.
Yeah.
That'd be more like just a normal sports game. But for me, sports games is a yeah. For you, it's a no.
See, okay, so if we split it up in the way it was, where it's like, I have never picked up a Madden game and play. I've played a few games of like NBA, like I've done like some stuff like that.
NBA Jam and Hang Time.
Yeah. So I'll put it in the yes for sports games because this is when we go sports games, we're talking about Wii Sports, anything that's like that category, like Tony Hawk's, where it's skating, snowboarding, and that's like skiing or any of those. Because
like SSX?
Yeah, it's like I played those and I have fun in those because it's not just like that repetitive. I've played team sport like games that are more fantasy based and enjoyed it, but it's always kind of like it gets really boring. Like in a like first person shooter, like online match, I get bored. Like first match, I'm like, all right, we're playing on the same map. This feels like the same experience to me. So, sports games, I'm gonna put in no comment because you would play them.
Oh yeah.
But would you go out and purposely pick it up, or would you just play it because you had it?
For hockey, I purposely go out and pick it up every year.
So you do pick up hockey every year.
Yep.
That's interesting.
I mean, I've gotten to the point, so I used to pre-order it, and I would get it every year right when it came out.
Yeah.
And now I wait for it to go on sale because it's just updated rosters for the most part.
Yeah. So that's one reason why I don't do the sports games is because it's like the only sports game I would pick up is like PBA bowling.
Yeah.
Like, and those PBA bowling games suck. I picked them up and played them, but they it's quite a lot to actually do that because they do have a lot of work into the game, but when it comes to it, and it's just like wanting to play the bowling game in itself, it's not quite like a team sports game where it's like, you...
I sunk a lot of time on King Griffey Jr.'s baseball game on the 64 as well.
Yeah.
a crap ton of time. They didn't track that kind of stats back then, so I'm safe, but it'd be obscene.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. For me, I'm gonna leave it as a no comment because I'm a person that won't play them, won't pick it up. Even if you give it to me for free, I'm just adding it to
The collection.
the collection, and it's just gonna sit there. Only game I would actually purposely pull out is a bowling game, just because I enjoy bowling and I know all the professionals that are on like rosters. I follow that every week. I'm following it right now, watching it.
I picked up every NHL game since 06.
Yeah. Interesting. All right, combat sports. It's the exact same thing. I've never played. I'm putting in no comment.
Yeah, no, I've picked up some of the UFC games and some of the boxing games and.
See, I think I would enjoy it more. Like the team sports, I would probably enjoy it if it was like, all right, you had everything and you were like, hey, or play this. Like if you gave me, like, I've never played FIFA, but I've seen people play FIFA before, like interacting and everything like that. If you were like, here's a team, play with this team, I'll tell you what to do real quick, we're going to do a match, and like I'll probably enjoy it, have fun, just because it's like, all right, we're just socializing.
And I did a lot of the WWF/E games too. Which I don't know if you would consider that a combat sport or not.
I would just say, yeah, throw it in the combat sport. Because...
No, I haven't bought one probably since the PlayStation.
Yeah.
So, obviously, I'm not that hardcore. I'm still talking about for the WWE games. But the UFC ones, I think I picked up for PS3. So, for me, it's no comment. Because I could live or... I could go either way.
Yeah. I'm going to put in no comment just because, like, the team sports games, it comes down to you are just picking up one specific game because you enjoy it.
Yep.
And it's just, like, it's not really the genre that gets you. It's a specific thing because you like hockey.
Yep.
Like, I've known guys that, like, don't like video games, but they'll pick up a soccer game because it has the roster. It has all the guys they know. They have the team, and they can interact with it in that way.
Yep.
So.
Franchise mode.
Yeah. Racing. Okay, I've picked up games like this, like The Crew, and I have enjoyed playing in games like The Crew. Now, Forza is not something I would pick up and play.
It depends on the racing game. Like, I like the Gran Turismo series.
Yeah.
But, like, how do you consider, like, in the racing genre, is it just, like, hardcore, just straight, like, racing games?
See, that is Racing Sim. Racing Sim is the hardcore stuff.
Yeah.
That's how I separate it. The realistic hardcore stuff is the Racing Sim. This is just racing in general, where it's like, okay, you know, it's more like a third person, and like dirt.
Because you throw, like, Mario Kart,
like
or...
that. I would coin that into this, because it is a racing. It's Mario Kart, anything that is, like...
Diddy Kong's Racing on the 64,
I would put
Road Rash.
Yeah. Like, I would put that into this category because we've already gone over racing sims, which are your more hardcore, specifically, like, they're made for people who want that NASCAR, like, simulator.
Yeah. So, like, for just the fact of Mario Kart alone with some of the other ones that I do enjoy playing, it would be a yes. But for all the other games, it's a no comment. So I think it probably just goes in the no comment.
So I would put it in no comment because it's something similar to what I've done this whole time. Because it's more of a party game.
Yep.
Because it's like, I would play it as a group. I'm never going to sit down and play Mario Kart or any of those games to get through that story mode.
I have.
Personally. And it's like, you can enjoy that, but it's like...
Also, throwback, Top Gear for the Super Nintendo. Holy crap, I love that game.
Yeah. See, it's like a no comment. I'll put it in yeah. Because it's something like a racing game is something... Now, the genre, I would say this, I would say, like, I would enjoy the genre and stuff like that. But like Jack X is one racing game I did get into. There's more stuff that kind of fits into this genre that's not just like that. Because I would say like I would almost put like Crazy Taxi into something like this because
Yeah.
it's like an adventure game, yeah, and like but it's you're driving and it's a racing because you're trying to beat a clock.
Yeah. Because it's like, where does like your Twisted Metal fall?
Yeah, because that's where I'm like Crazy Taxi, Twisted Metal. I would kind of put it. It's like it's a demolition game. I would almost just put it. It's like in a very specific sub genre within like. It's very hard to say because it's like I would group it into like a racing, but just like a very far sub genre in that racing group.
Yeah.
Because it is like it is very similar because half the time you are racing to get so many points to get to win. But I'll put it into yes because we would do that. Because me personally, I enjoyed Jack X. I enjoy games like that racing. I have played like The Crew a little bit. There are racing games I won't like, but it's the same thing like any other game.
Yeah.
It so happens that it says racing and we all just kind of immediately think, oh, this is like so hardcore, but I'm like, well, we're subbing in this specifically. We're putting it in the
And I did enjoy the Need for Speed series.
Yeah.
And Burnout.
So I did enjoy the Burnout. I played Dirt. I did enjoy a couple of Dirt where it was like more off-road kind of tracks.
Yeah.
And it's like that was one game that it's like my brother bought me like Dirt for the PS3 before. I would probably never have picked it up myself, but I did enjoy it. He bought it for me, so I had it and I played it. I enjoyed it. But yeah, it was something like there's some I would probably go for, but it's never a no.
No, never.
Some are met, but it's like really I would probably say there's only like one or two I would put in no. It's not something that All right, FPS.
Hot take, meh. Just
see, this is where it comes into where I get where you're coming from, where it's like Call of Duty.
Yeah.
But like like on here, it's like Wolfenstein.
Like, yeah, Wolfenstein was a meh for me as well. Like, I did enjoy Doom. I mean, there's shooters I've enjoyed throughout the years. Don't get me wrong.
How about Left 4 Dead?
If I'm playing with somebody, yeah. If I were to play by myself, no.
I think I have the one because it's like a good story. How about Resistance?
Never played it.
See, I love that one because it has such a cool storyline to it, and it's so fun. Because it has multiplayer, but most people bought it kind of just because of the story.
Yeah.
It's a great, like, when it comes to just like I found like first person shooter instead of like Call of Duty where it's just like a military. Yeah. That one was like, oh, aliens are like invading the planet.
First person shooters, if I'm playing with a friend, is good, but it's not something I'm gonna just play over and over again to where I get good at it. Like years ago, Call of Duties I played a lot of. I messed with some Overwatch when it came out. I never got good at those games. But when it comes, like, I played MAG for the PS3. I loved it.
Okay. Here's a good thing here is that they have the FPS and then they have tactical FPS, which is like Rainbow Six. Now, this is where I'll break off as to, I will put first-person shooters into yes, just because, A, I have 2,000 hours into Destiny 1. So that speaks something. I do enjoy first-person shooters with like a story or just fun, but it's like for me, Destiny was something I did because I had friends that played Destiny a lot, and at that time, specifically, only that time, I was like going to college and had I was only actually working one job at that time, one full-time job, and then going to school, so I had evenings that I would just not sleep, and just go right to school. So it's just hard to say because first-person shooters, I would say yes, because there's so many that aren't like Call of Duty that are tactical, which fall into the tactical. Because I would put like a tactical first-person shooter game into no. Because it's like, I'm not going to sit down and play Call of Duty because I get bored of it. I don't want the story of it. I'm not going to play Rainbow Six. I'm not going to play like any kind of SWAT type game I'm not gonna do that because it just brings me back to like it's like I'm trying to do like that mobile game style of like I don't want that community. You don't want to deal with like that. But first person shooters in itself, yes, because how about like Duke Nukem?
Yeah, like I said, there's been first person shooters I've really liked throughout the years, but at the end of the day, I don't remember the last time I specifically sought out.
I think that's where it's like you haven't. There's so many games out there that's you've picked out so many that it's like you just never gravitated towards that.
Yeah.
So, I'll have to pull out some for you to play and pick out something to get you back into it. Alright, I know your stance on this next one. You played Rhythm Sprout recently, so
Oh, yeah.
rhythm games.
I wouldn't say it's an oh yeah, but for me it's definitely a yes.
I'll put it yes, because I absolutely am garbage at rhythm games, but I do enjoy it because I enjoy music. I enjoy anything like that.
Yeah. I liked Rock Band, I liked Guitar Hero. Like, they have D-Moo on here. I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've played a lot of the mobile ones just because, you know, I have a mobile phone. I can just pull it out, play for 10 minutes, and then put it away.
Yeah. My wife likes Rock Band and all that, so I'll play Rock Band with her. I'll have to keep mine on, like, very easy, and she'll do, like, the more, like, expert level stuff, and I'll just sit there and be like, alright, don't fuck up. And I'm like, I have to hit my 2 notes. And I'll fuck up. But, alright, next one I think is absolutely, it's platforming.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's hard to... Platformers are just so pleasing.
Yeah.
Like, for me, it's like Prince of Persia. I played all the Prince of Persias that have come out. I have them all for, like, NES through all the recent ones. And sure, people will be like, yeah, man, I'm like, sure, it's a platformer. It's fun, though.
No.
Anything, though, platforming is just, there's so many to choose from.
I feel like platformer could almost have a crap ton of subgenres.
Oh, there's going to be so many. I mean, just the fact that you can have, like, 2D, 3D platformers, you can have anything like that. And to me, it's like, you can have, like, casual platformers like Jak and Dexter, which I've played a lot. I've played Jak and Dexter so many times. And that's just more of a casual platforming game. It's not intense, it's not hard, it's nothing like Meatball.
Oh, yeah.
Like that, I love that game.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a hard and intense platformer.
Yeah, it's like Super Meat Boy or...
Super Meat Boy is what it is. I played that one a lot, and I played through all the levels. And it gets intense fast, and it's very picky, and that is a pleasing, fast-paced platformer.
And the music is surprisingly good in that
It
game,
is.
too.
It has really good soundtracking to keep up with that pace.
Yeah.
And with that, it's like Super Meat Boy, but you get a lot of really good like stories out of like some platformers because it's like I love Little Big Planet.
Yep.
I spent so much time in Little Big Planet because Little Big Planet could be easy and you can make it and play through it and play hard because it's like towards the end of like the first Little Big Planet, like I aced all the levels in Little Big Planet, even the ones at the last couple levels, which were a little tedious, but I played through and got through and just, didn't die on any of those levels. And I was like, but they're so fun. Education.
I mean, it depends what you consider an educational game.
So let's say that I think this is where it gets into where it's more nostalgia for a lot of people because it's like Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
I am going to just put no comment because it's going to be so biased for anything because it's like you have Oregon Trail, you have anything that's more like, okay, it could have been fun, everything. Because I actually have a lot more, I do have quite a few DOS games on my computer that are all like Mr. Brain, Dr. Brain, it's like something like that where it's like, I remember it as a little kid in school.
Yeah.
Having it on there where it was just like math and everything like that, but the whole presentation of it was like cool because you were going through this like mansion and you were going through like basically like it was like the Frankenstein kind of thing where you're doing puzzles, solving math questions, typing questions or anything like that, and it was just like little mini games for all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely have their place. Like, when you're learning how to type, like having to have a shark go by and you're like, oh, I gotta type this out before it gets to me. I mean, it teaches you skills and kind of gets you into games a little bit. So it's kind of a win-win, but it's just not something you're gonna play when you get older.
Yeah. All right. I think it just stays. I think I might try to play through an education game here in the future just to see what it's like.
Yeah.
Just to see if it is like just the nostalgia of like for like our time period where it's like growing up in the 90s and having stuff like that at school where it's like it was just starting to get introduced.
Yeah.
Like just got the computer labs at that time. We would like look through them. It was like, okay, no computers. Now it's computers. Now it's like better computers. And it's like, oh my God, these computers can actually do things.
Yeah.
And now, so it's like by 5th, 6th grade for me, it was like, okay, we finally have computers that can actually run basic like DOS games in the computer lab and have like typing games. I think it was like maybe a little bit younger that they had like super more basic stuff that they actually had more like available. But all right, well, moving on. This is a terrible one to end this on. It is exercise games. It's specifically like the Wii Fit. I think that's what most people are gonna always look at. It's like the Wii Fit, but I think there's quite a few others. But this is specifically going for like, it's specifically made for that purpose of weight loss, where it's and it's an exercise. I have the Wii Fit. I have games like this. I just forget about them.
Yeah.
It's.
I mean, some of them are kind of fun. Like the first time you play it.
Yeah, but you just.
And then you're just like, eh.
It's like, eh. You're like, you'll get it. It's fun. It's like, oh, I could do this every day. Next day, and be like, what was I doing yesterday?
Yeah.
I can't remember. Kind of feeling for me.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it is.
Like the new Ring one for the Switch. I mean, it looks like it could be interesting. Never picked it up.
That's the thing. It's just like, it's interesting if you focus. Just to me, it's no comment because I would say yes if it was something that I could remember. They're like, be like, all right, pick this up. But my brain always just like, it's out of sight, out of mind kind of thing because I would put the board out of the way because it was in the way.
Yep.
You put it off to the side and just forget it even exists.
Out of all the other games out there that probably have sweated the most playing, it's Kinect Sports.
Yeah.
By far.
So yeah, I played the Kinect. So when the Kinect first came out, there was quite a few games that I played on it that were more just fitness games. I enjoyed it because it's like, I remember that when I first bought the Kinect, I was actually leaving bowling and then going and I bought that from Walmart and then went home and did that. So I was already like, I did that. I was like, I went to school, went bowling, did all that, but I was still like, I need to do this because it just came out.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, like I said, they've got a place. They're fun. It's good for you if you like it.
Yeah.
But it's not something you're gonna sit down and play every day, more than likely.
Yeah. I'm gonna leave it in no comment.
Yep, same.
It's kind of spread out pretty.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking there would probably be more in the no, but it's actually more just like, I was thinking that, I don't know. It's interesting.
You didn't know I played so many sports games.
Well, I kind of just assumed that you would play the hockey. But yeah, you were like, I'll do the sports games, and it's just like, yeah, I can see that now that we actually talked about it. But, it's not something that casually just like, since I never brought it up and you never really brought it up, it's not something.
Yeah.
I'm kind of across the board. Like, I'll play really anything for the most part, but it's just like, I put no on survival because it's just like, it's not something I will ever pick. I'll try it.
Yeah.
I'll play it, but I most likely just won't.
There's not very often somebody puts a video game in front of me and says, I want you to try this, and I'll say no.
Yeah.
That's like, all right. You gotta give it 15, 20 minutes, give it a shot, give it a fair shot, get through the tutorial, then give it 15, 20 minutes, and you may actually find yourself, okay, I can actually kind of play this.
Yeah. it's kind of like this, where it's like I would say no to these, but if someone did buy the game, put it in front of me, I'd be like, or it just depends on the game. Like if you
Yeah.
give me Call of Duty, I'm like, it's gonna be the same thing. I'm like, I already did this because I've already tried it in the past. I'm just gonna be like, no, I'll pass. Or it's like most of these games down here, it's just like we've already played majority. Now if it was like a new twist on it, and that's why I'm like in the survival. Like the Forest has a cool storyline to it. It's like I've actually, because of that, I actually looked up to see what the story was, how the ending and everything like that. But that's because it has an adventure in it. There's a storyline, there's action in it. The only thing I don't like about that game is the survival part. Versus games like Ark that don't have. There's really no story, there's nothing, and it's just like more of a multiplayer thing. That's why I'm like, The Forest would be more interesting just because of that story. I would play it if it didn't have the survival, and it was more like you just kind of respawn and you can go get your stuff, and you might say it's like old school like MMORPG where you lose like experience, lose like some of your gear, or lose something like that. But overall, I was thinking maybe, I don't know, I'll have to look at some of these again to see whether or not that's truly what I feel, especially stealth. I do want to maybe try stealth at this time period to see how I feel, if it's still like meh or if it's any different. Because I haven't played a stealth game in a while.
Yeah, I'd say probably. Yeah, I didn't even really play Metal Gear Solid 5. Like 4 was the last one I really played.
I have to try that. I need to get you to play a couple different games. Especially some type of good shooter that's fun, more recent, that's not like time consuming. Or there's some really good music shooters coming out. There's a couple really good, like you follow the beat, just like there's a couple that we've seen come out recently that are more like rhythm based first person shooters, where if you get it on the beat you get extra points, increased damage and stuff like that with original soundtracks too. I'm like, oh yes, I might have to pick up. There's one game I'm thinking personally I think you would enjoy. We'll have to try that out. Alright, well, this is going on way too long. Alright, we're ending it. Yep. Midwest goodbye.
Yeah, just 3 more hours, guys. We're finally out of here.
Yes. Well, thank you for watching. Bye.
See ya.